Okay, this next part of the video is going to talk about setting up your fonts and setting up your lettering. You're going to need the title, you're going to need the author's name, you're going to need your name. Now you might have noticed that not only is the title on here, but there's also a square here, and you might not be able to see it too well, there's also a square down there. These are things that need to be added to your design. If you don't put them in, what's going to happen is if you have your title, if you move the title over here, let's say, and you have that square, it's going to cover it. Okay, so there's going to be a sticker that's going to be put up here, and there's going to be a sticker that's going to be put down there. The top one's going to be the QR code, the bottom one's going to be the barcode. So in order to prepare for that, you need to put those blocks in. So you're going to go to File, New Blank File. First one's going to be a 1x1 square, resolution 300, background contents white, and that shows up there. And all it is this new image is going to be dragged onto your book cover, just right in the top left-hand side. The other one is going to be, instead of 1 inch wide, it's going to be 2.5 inches wide, and the height's still 300 resolution, content white. So it's a rectangle that's going to be placed down there. Let me move this in front. It'll be a little easier to grab. Okay. So you can see it's covering part of the image, but that's okay. All right. If it's something where these things are blocking something important in your design, you're going to have to move the design. You can't move these things. Where they are is where they are, and that's where they're going to be stuck. Alright, so now getting back, by the way, if these are just obtrusive or they just stand out too much, you don't like the look of them, you can always lower the opacity. This is just reserving a spot for those stickers. Okay, so if you just reduce it like that, that's completely fine. They're still going to show up there. With the lettering, I went around and I tried out different lettering. I downloaded 3 different ones, and I found that this was my favorite. It's called Romance something or other. And yeah, Romance Fatal Serif, STD. If you are downloading fonts and you forgot which ones they are, what you can do is you can go back to FontBook, and that will open up all the fonts that you downloaded as the user. Okay, so you can go back to the titles and figure it out. One of the things I want to do is I want these lines to be closer together, and we did this in another project. What I want to do though before is I'm going to, right now what happened is that this was simplified. I'm going to retype it. You can put the lettering on one line. I split it up into 2. I also aligned it to the left. I'm sorry, to the right. It was aligned to the left, but I thought it looked better aligned to the right. Now, if I want to put the lettering closer together, the 2 lines, we did this in another project. You highlight it, you go to where it says leading or letting, and you can move it closer together. If you use the arrows, the up and down arrows, and you can highlight this, and you can move it up and down. Oh, sorry, you have to make sure you're on the right to highlight this first, and then highlight this, and you can move the arrows up and down, make them really close. Now these guys can be pretty close together. I like how the T drops down on top of the N. Really get nice and tight on there, so you can make these bigger. Gives you enough, gives you a little bit of play to make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Alright, so I like that. That looks pretty good. You don't want these in the parts of your picture to get too close to the edge. You want to have a little bit of space. Okay. So the next thing is you are going to put some style on this if you want. So if you go to Layer, Layer Style, Style Settings, you'll see what kind of really cool things you can do with this. First of all, if you do like a drop shadow, opacity is the darkness, distance, size, you lower the size, it'll get like really, really close. So that looks pretty cool. You can try different colors for your font. Right now I'm just using black. I do an inner glow, that makes it look cool. Outer glow, oh, that looks nice. Change the color of the glow. You guys are pretty good with this kind of stuff. Beveled edge. If you have really thick lettering, it shows up really nicely. Now this looks pretty good. Now look, if I take the preview away, you can see how that really adds to it. One last thing, I'm going to cancel that. One last thing, text has special effects, and they're located right over here. There are bevels, drop shadows, image effects. So I mean, you could spend a long time just trying to find one that you like. So these are bevels, but they're more intense bevels. So you might just experiment a little bit and figure out which ones you want to use. So you're going to be doing this for both the title, you're going to do it for the author, and you're going to do it for your cover design, your name. And you don't have to use the same lettering. My suggestion is to make sure the lettering has something in common. You don't want them to look really, really different. If you decide to use the same font style for all of your text, that's fine, but you want to probably vary it somehow so that there's no mix-up, like even just changing the size. So have a little fun with it. The title should be the biggest thing, second biggest should be the author's name, third biggest should be your name. And we'll see you in a little bit, and we're going to talk about making the spine next.